My name's Helen Carter and I'm mum to Hollie, who is 9 and has an Olympic type C.
And how many other children do you have?
We have 2 more children. We have a son, Lucas, who is 5, and we have an older son, Josh, who's 13.
And what's sort of a daily routine, for example, a weekend, like with the 3 of them together? So are there any sort of particular things that you have to watch out with Hollie at the weekend, or...?
I mean, with Hollie, we're always watching out because she's got the enlarged spleen, which is outside her rib cage, so we have to just be very, very careful about any active sports, any contact sports she wouldn't be able to do. So if she's got school trips or friends' birthdays, we always need to check what that is. If it involves anything that's dangerous or risky to her, then we obviously have to try and tailor it or do something different. She's on a medication that can cause gastro side effects, so we have to make sure she doesn't eat too much sweet food, too much food that's high in certain sugars. So we're always watching about what she's doing. And she gets very tired easily, so she'll probably sleep 2 or 3 times a day. But when she is awake, she's very light.
I imagine it's quite difficult to stop with the sweet. I mean, with any child, it's difficult to stop with the sweets and make sure you maintain it. What's the best way that you found so far to sort of stop her having too many sweets?
Well, with Hollie, she doesn't like sweets. All she likes is chocolate buns and apple juice, which are probably the 2 worst things she could possibly have. So we try and keep it to moderation. We moderate what she's doing. So we'll give her sort of half a bag instead of a full bag. If it's Easter or Christmas and there's lots of chocolate, then we know it's going to be bad. We can give her some syrup to try and stop her going to the toilet so much. We can give her some probiotic if we think it's going to really react. The worst thing for us is when we're on holiday and that happens, because she'll get stomach pains and she won't be able to find it on the toilet quick enough, and it's just very, very disturbing for her and for everyone around her really, because we can't put her in the swimming pool or do normal things with her.
Yeah.
Anything like she can't have lots of pasta, certain spicy foods will react with her, so we just have to be really, really careful that we're not giving her anything unusual. If we go on holiday and there's a product that isn't something that we know really well, it can really upset her stomach, so just being careful of that really. We can tell when she's having, if she's eaten something that hasn't agreed with her or she's had a build up of too much sugar throughout the week, she can have quite a poorly tummy and be quite ill, and sometimes we get called in from school to go and pick her up, so we need to try and manage it.
And school, for example, does she have packed lunches? Does she have school dinners?
She has packed lunch at school because she's so fussy with her diet, as well as not being able to eat certain things. She's also really fussy, so she has a particular packed lunch probably every day: tuna sandwich, ham sandwich, something else in there, and an apple juice, which is the only thing that she'll drink with water. So she is quite rigid in what she has. She likes to have the same thing, and if you try and give her anything different or unusual, she just won't touch it.
I suppose that's the same with a lot of children. There's no difference there.
No.
So as well as at school, how do they cope with, for example, do they know the signs of when she's not feeling very well? Is she quite open to telling them when she's not feeling well?
Her school is absolutely amazing. They've been amazing from day one. So she's got a statement of special needs. She's got a TA that's been with her since I think about year 2 now, and they've got a really, really close, strong bond. She's like a second mum to her really, and she will tell her anything. But all the teachers are very engaged, very tuned into her. The Olympic family officer has been down to the school and given them all training on what to look for, and they're all very aware of when Hollie's tired or Hollie's not feeling well. She'll let them know. So yes, they are very much in tune with her, and they also know that she tires easily in the afternoon, so they'll take her out, walk her on the playground, give her some fresh air and go back again, and try and keep her infused as much as possible, but at the same time just don't over push her. They know her limits, so she has lots of outside classroom activities, so she doesn't do all the normal stuff that other children do. So she does lots of threading beads and Play-Doh activities and cooking, sort of things that just keep, she has physiotherapy exercises at school, so she has lots of different things. And if they think that something's going to be too difficult for her, they will find a way around it.
That's good. And what's the name of the school?
Long Meadow.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Brilliant. And another thing with friends then at school, so if, for example, she's not in some of the classes, or does she have any problems with other students thinking, she's getting special treatment, or are they all quite...
No, I mean, obviously what we've done with her for Hollie is she's got older, we had to be really careful how we pitch it, because she's reading things, her friends are reading things, and they're seeing things, so when things have come on Anglia News before, people have said things to her.
Yeah, of course.
Luckily, Hollie just bounces them off and just says they've got it wrong. It's only ever happened once, and we sort of sorted that quite quickly. But the school have been really good. She's now reached a point where they've had another chat with actually last week with all the friends in her class, and explained that her and another little child in the class, go to hospital, and Hollie's got a poorly tummy and a poorly head, and Hollie sat in on the conversation. And that Hope for Hollies MK News charity this year, and they may read more about it, because I think that was what they were more concerned about.
Yeah.
And if they do, then Hollie's basically the hope in Hope for Holly, and she's doing really well, and she's helping researchers find a cure for her, but not just for her, but children that are a lot more poorly than her. So she understands she's got an eating pig, but she doesn't understand the full implications of it.
Yeah.
And at the moment she's just living life to the full, really.
Yeah, and has she got some close friends that she sort of goes out with, or sleepovers and stuff like that?
We don't do sleepovers, we're a bit too nervous about that at the moment. She's quite wakeful, she can be quite wakeful in the night, or she can wake up with stomach upset, or she could just be, she can just scream out and relive her day in the night, talking through the night. So and she wakes very early in the morning, so she goes on school residential trips. Well, she's been on one, she'll go on another one in a few months. But for actually friends sleepovers, I'm slightly nervous about doing that. She does have close friends. She has quite a few close friends, and they all really look after her. I mean, when they come to her parties before, she's walked down the stairs, and I've heard one little girl saying, "Hollie, you okay? Be careful going down the stairs." So they all sort of mother her quite a lot, and they're quite good with her.
But like we've spoken before, sort of her symptoms, she does just look and act like a normal girl. So do you think that's quite a good thing for her friends, that even though they know about it, they still treat her the same?
Yeah, because they all just know Hollie's having a poorly tummy and helping doctors. They only know what Hollie knows, which is great. And if some of them do know any more, they haven't said anything to her really. They look after her, and they treat her as like any other girl really. So as she grows older, I think the gap between her and her friends gets more obvious in terms of maturity levels and stuff. And she is very behind in school in terms of her learning, but in Hollie's little world, she's quite happy still. Yeah,
good. Listening to One Direction.
Yeah, definitely.
When you go on holidays, do you sort of go on like a holiday once a year as a family?
Yeah, we've got a caravan, so we do quite a few short breaks in the UK just to get away when we need to get the stress of things. And we do 1 2-week holiday in France each year, but this year, my birthday, we're being brave and going to Turkey for 2 weeks, so I'm really nervous about that.
Brilliant.
Really nervous. Taking her on. I mean, we've been to America a lot with her.
Okay,
of course. She takes part in the research study, and we've also linked that in with going to Disney and Washington and places to sightsee. But we always feel quite safe in America because the healthcare is so good out there, so I'm slightly worried about taking her anywhere else. But she's still really happy and wants to go, so while she's well, we'll do it.
Yeah, and how do you cope with that? Do you have Hollie in the same room as yourself? Do you just make sure that her room is really close to you?
They all stay. I mean, we've got an apartment this time, so they'll all stay in the same sort of apartment as us, probably separate rooms. And we just. Obviously, Hollie has to have special medical insurance, which can be quite expensive. So the holiday insurance itself is always an issue, trying to get an insurance company to cover it. Most of them haven't even heard of it, and their computer says no all the time. But, we've got a few that we need to try, but they are quite expensive. So that side of things is always a little bit more difficult with Hollie, and taking her medication out there is only tablets, so it doesn't make a really big deal for her.
And obviously activities on holiday, is it sometimes difficult because you've got 2 boys that I imagine are constantly wanting to do things like water park or football, and how do you sort of balance it so Hollie doesn't feel left out, but also so you don't have to keep saying no to the boys because Hollie can't?
We're quite inclusive of everything, so we'll go to the beach or somewhere where we know she can do things, and Hollie sort of knows her own limits, so she's quite good at knowing when she doesn't want to do something. If we're in the water park, then there's things that Hollie can do in the smaller pools, and we just try and avoid her going down the slides. If she does, she'll go down with my husband because I hate water. So she goes with him, and he holds on to her so that he's, that she's safe. I mean, we tend to try and make her as inclusive as possible in things, and Hollie knows her limits, so it's not too bad.
And are our brothers quite understanding? Do they sort of sometimes get a bit frustrated by it?
Yeah, I mean, her older brother's a teenager, so he's a typical 13-year-old who probably hasn't got much tolerance. But he understands she goes to hospital, so he's aware of what she can and can't do. Lucas is too young and boisterous, so he'll just squabble and fight with her as most little siblings are.
Yeah, and do you think it may become more difficult as your eldest gets a bit older and wants to do a bit more of his own thing?
Yeah, I mean, he's beginning to do his own thing now, but I mean, obviously, as things progress, I mean, Hollie's symptoms are very mild at the moment, so it's not really impacting on her life too much, but once it did, and the more hospital appointments that came through and the more things she can't do, then I expect it would get quite difficult for all siblings really. I've seen that happen, so... But we'll just adjust, and hopefully by that time he'll be old enough to understand.
Yeah.
And then Lucas hopefully will adapt as well.
And a daily routine for Hollie, sort of how many times a day does she have to sort of monitor medication or monitor anything like that? What does it?
I Holly gets up really early in the morning, so she'll be up at 5 singing and dancing. So the minute she wakes up, that's it. She's hyperactive. She has her medication after breakfast in the morning. Like I say, it's only tablets, so it doesn't cause too much problem at the moment. She'll go off to school, or we'll do something at the weekend. Normally by sort of 2 o'clock in the afternoon, she's getting really tired, so she'll go and have a nap. So she'll usually sleep for an hour. She'll wake up in a very bad mood and want food. We think it's the medication she's on that really makes her hungry anyway, so she's constantly wanting to eat and graze all day, which at school they're aware of, and she has little snacks. And here she just wants to go for the chocolate button. And then she has the medication again at night before bed. And like I say, she can wake a few times in the night or talk through the night, but she's getting better.
So unlike other children and their symptoms, it is something that you can take outside quite easily, so you can go for activities and just take the medication and snacks with you? Yeah,
we can take the medication where we need to go. It's an orphan drug, which means we don't get it over the counter and the doctors don't prescribe it as such. It has to have special delivery, so we have to be at home when it's being delivered once every 4 months and sign for it, and some secure box and stuff. It's very expensive medication, so we have to guard it with our lives. But but apart from that, it's quite easy.
Brilliant. And what's a good day like for Holly?
A good day is when Holly when she's with her friends or family or doing something active, keeping her active. She doesn't like walking for miles and miles and miles, but she does like doing things like going to parties and singing and dancing, and really just enjoying herself with her friends.
And what's a bad day for Holly?
A bad day is when Holly's ill, because when Holly gets ill, that's when you really know she's got being picked up. So she's quite good at maintaining, keeping bugs away, but when she does get them, they really, really do knock her. And so, it takes us a lot of time to get over that, and that can absolutely exhaust her. And Holly absolutely loves school, to the point that even if she's on her sick bed, she would want to get up and go to school, and she gets very, very upset if she can't get to school for anything. So when she's sick, it's really hard trying to explain to her she's got to stay at home. And also, Holly would say a bad day is going to the hospital and having injections or blood tests. She hates that.
Well, yeah, surprisingly. So, for example, if she had a cold, how different would it be to just me or you having a cold?
She's quite resilient to a lot of things like that now. So she sort of tends to she tends to ward them off quite well. But when she does get them, then she'll get the really, really high temperature and she'll be really tired. And normally it will take a lot longer to clear the cough and to clear the symptoms. And at school they'll find that she sort of falls asleep on the desk, or she's just not interacting with the rest of the class. And it just seems to take her a lot more time to get over things. So it's but I mean she does, so eventually.
But would you say as a family you have days where you do feel complete and you kind of are able to forget about the problems some days she's having, or do you feel like there's always the little part of you that's always aware of it?
As a parent, my husband might say he forgets it, but I don't ever. So I think for me it just carries on my shoulder all day, 24/7. Not just because of what we do, hopefully, but because of the fear of the unknown and not knowing if one symptom is an pick or it's not. And that's been really hard with Holly, because as she's grown up, things have happened and we're not sure what's causing it. And is it an pick or is it just normal behaviour? And so that can be quite difficult to work out, and you're always worrying about everything as a parent. So the slightest day trip, you're always going to fret about where you're going, what you're doing, and is Holly going to be all right? Is she going to eat something that's going to react with her? And so I think it's, for me, it doesn't leave us. So we're always thinking about it.
And how have you felt as the charity's developed and as it's sort of touched the hearts of so many people? You've made friends with people you may not have met before, and they're supporting you and friends with you as a result of Holly. How does that make you feel? Well,
I've always said that I would change Holly's diagnosis tomorrow, but I would never change the people I've met on the journey, because they are so amazing. Not only, we're very lucky that we've had this 9 years of Holly in relatively good health. We're seeing signs now, we know things are likely to change in the next few years. But for some of these children, they don't even get those early years. So seeing how inspirational those families are has driven us on really to make a difference. So our thinking is that whilst Holly's well and whilst we've got the time to commit to Hope for Holly, then we'll do something and make a real difference. The outpouring of support has been amazing. Since Holly's been little, people have followed her and carried on following her story. And as we found more children in the area being diagnosed, it's just touched more and more people. So everyone asks me what's going on, how Holly is today, how's Holly doing, and that's the first thing they'll ask if I haven't seen them for a long time. And it's just amazing, you know, people who jump out of planes, or do crazy things for a little girl that they've hardly ever met. And it's when you get emails through your website, as I got last night from someone saying, I work at Tesco's and I've just done a raffle and a collection for you, where do I send the cheque? And you know, I don't know who this person is, and they've just taken it upon themselves to do it. And you know, Milton Keynes itself has just been absolutely amazing. We never knew it would grow as big as it has. And we're still finding new supporters every day, so it's brilliant.